Welcome to the podcast. We talk about all the things that are hidden in the shadows. And this is Isaac.
And this is Megan.
And on this episode, they're releasing
Friday.
Well, today when you're listening to it.
Yeah.
Yes. We decided to give you another episode this week because we were on vacation for almost a month or so. Plus, this episode Megan's been obsessed about when she went down the alien rabbit hole on TikTok.
Yeah, no, I had one random video. It was actually about the Abigail Project, which we're going to get into in this episode. But it was another podcast. I don't really think they do paranormal stuff, but they were covering like spooky stuff one episode. And they started going into the Abigail Project, and I was like, what?
So this is Aliens Part 5.
Yes.
You know what's weird? I look back to our catalog. We have not done an Aliens episode this year.
Oh, yeah.
We did stuff around it, but not one particularly.
Yeah.
Which I can see now why people requested for this one to come back to.
So this episode actually is part of our December series, one of the first in the series for December, where we go back and we're kind of talking about past episodes that we have, episode topics that we have talked about, and kind of maybe have a new insight or just recover new things that we found about it. And this one was actually requested by Jose, which I know is going to listen to this because he's all about the aliens. And he's been listening to us for a while, so shout out to him for requesting this. And I think this might be something that we might do quite often in 2023. Like every so often do where we revisit a subject that we've talked about in the past. Because we have over 200 episodes now.
I can't even tell you the first, the ghost stories. You know, I can't even tell you the first year of episodes we did.
Yeah, it was a lot. We had easy pickings because we didn't cover any of them. So, the Denver airport, we had haunted objects, we had
Aliens Part 1.
Yeah, a lot of ghost story or like encounter stories, and like random places like hotbed ranches and stuff like that. But 2023, we already started kind of like coming up with ideas, and some of them are going to be pretty intense. I'm kind of excited for the episodes that we've conjured up our ideas.
Yeah. And I was like, I know one of the main reasons people listen to podcasts. I know why I listen to podcasts. But I know one reason listen to us. I mean, educational reasons and stuff like that. But also because of personalities. Mm-hmm. You know, people always say, we have good chemistry, blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah. Which is good. I mean,
we're married.
I know, yeah.
No, but I appreciate, because this is our last month of the year, obviously. Mm-hmm. Christmas time around the corner. Or Christmas around the corner. Sorry, Christmas time. It's been Christmas since October 25th.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't lie.
No, it is true. No, but the way you put it, the way that you put it is it's been Christmas since October 25th.
Yeah. I remember walking into Lowe's and seeing Christmas trees already up and the Halloween stuff being pushed off to the corner.
Oh my gosh, that was so sad.
But, no, I just had to reflect in the sense of like, I appreciate everyone who's been listening to us since the beginning, who jumped on, who found us, however, and then, just basically stuck along as, because you're always interested in hear what we have to do next and where our story goes from here. And believe me, the stuff that me and Megan have talked about, the things that we plan to do, if you stay to the story for as long as we go, I guarantee you have never heard anything about what we plan to do ever. No movie, no story, no legend equivalent to what we plan to do. When it comes to stories, when it comes to encounters and stuff that we get to talk about. And then, of course, we have our investigations we do, paranormal team, stuff like that. So there's always a haunted update we're going to share with you guys. And the stuff we plan to do with the paranormal team and stuff like that. There's a lot of good, what we plan to do anyway, I say, that's in the future that you're going to want to stick around to hear about.
And I think if you go from the very beginning to now, you could definitely see that evolution of like where we were like, we have no clue, like what's going on, like how do we, manage? Well, at first it was just me talking about how to manage abilities, and then it morphed into you. And so yeah, it's kind of cool when you go back, especially things we've learned about with being in the paranormal community and talking to other investigators, talking to other psychic mediums, people with abilities, different demonologists, even like all of that.
Still yet. Yeah, you probably consider Chaz. But I still yet to... Well, Chaz always promotes this stuff when we do interviews with him. But I still yet to have like an actual like alien expert person, right? To come on the show, interview, talk about aliens, different species and stuff like that. Like we know people that are into aliens, but I want to find like, like we've had demonologists, we've had paranormal investigators. I want to find like, like an alien expert. But I feel like finding someone who is like, it's not all conspiracy theories is going to be really hard.
Yeah, that's true.
But I hope to find it. So hopefully one of these days in the future episodes and stuff like that. But speaking of today's episode, today is Aliens Part 5. We already said in the beginning, right?
I think so.
I lost my thoughts. Anyway, it's late.
That's okay, because I've been calling it Aliens Part 6 for the past, 2 weeks.
Because you assumed we did one this year.
Yeah, but we didn't. That's crazy. And from this episode, and especially... I know at the beginning, if you've listened to all the Alien episodes, I was always like, I'm not really into aliens.
Well, we never put much, honestly, we didn't put stock in it. We just never put much time of trying to learn. Most of what we were trying to learn is surrounded by the paranormal.
Yeah.
Like I say, we're pretty educated paranormal-wise, but aliens, conspiracy theories, or even cryptoids is like, we know how to keep a conversation going. Don't ask us any expert questions.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider, say more of the ghost and stuff like that. And entity wise, we're pretty educated on, but actual, don't ask me about cryptids. No.
I'm always fascinated with aliens. I think the besides, one of the things we're talking about, probably the first thing we talk about today, Area 51.
Yeah.
Which is everyone's top thing everyone always wants to talk about when it comes to aliens. It's like it always goes hand in hand.
Yeah, that's the episode, Area 51.
What's we're calling it?
Yeah, Area 51.
But, no, I was always intrigued with Area 51 ever since I learned about what it was when I was a kid. Like, that's the place where aliens are. That's where they keep them and stuff like that.
And it's kind of crazy because Area 51 didn't actually become, acknowledged as a place until 2013. But yet... I remember it as a kid, and doing the research, there's a lot of people there's a podcaster from New Mexico, not New Mexico, but that area. I don't know why I said New Mexico. But in that area, in that region, in Nevada, he was saying, I grew up with stories and stuff like that. Because the one podcaster was like, it didn't actually become a talked about place, it's an actual thing by the government until 2013. And he was like, what? He didn't know that. He thought it was always... Because there was so much stuff dating all the way back that there was alien-type situations going on there.
Yeah. I mean, I heard about it when I was a kid, but that was probably through, one of those, paranormal shows, like Ripley's Believe It or Not, or... There was some show, I can't remember. I'm seeing the music, and I'm hearing the guy speak to you right now about aliens, blah, blah, blah. On some some air TV channel when I was a kid. I didn't have cable when I was a kid. Now I'm really dating myself. I remember seeing a guy sitting there in a chair and a camera slowly zooming into him in a dark room going, have you ever seen an alien before? Well, blah, 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 story, blah, 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 insert video, blah, blah, blah. That kind of show. Ripley's Believe It or Not, I think had one of the guys who played Superman. I think so. I don't remember. Yeah, I think it was one of the guys who plays Superman on the screen. But no, I just remember that for some reason that flashed in my head. But what intrigued me about Area 51, there's stories and stuff like that. But when I found out about Site 4 through Bob Lazar, that whole spiel, holy crap! So that was way more interesting because the stuff that he spilled the beans on and still alive. But then again, he gets raided by the FBI consistently at his own shop. Because apparently he has the alien material or a piece of metal that is alien metal.
And when we get to that part, because I definitely want to talk about that. When we get to that part too, it's kind of interesting because I'm starting to kind of see the flow. Obviously, there was speculation about the Montauk Project and MK Ultra and stuff like that, which that's not alien related. But there is some similarities between Area 51 because they did do experiments there, apparently. I know it's renowned for alien stuff, but apparently they did well, the legends are that they also did experiments here and there on different things, and it was kind of like that same concept of trying to basically outbeat enemies after wars. Like, how can we make like either superhumans or withstand extreme circumstances? And that's what happened with the Abigail Project, which is also talked about on Area 51. It's not confirmed, but it was like a legend or a lore that's heavily talked about with Area 51, and it's really creepy.
What is the Abigail Project? I haven't heard of that one yet.
Okay, so I'm actually going to get into really quick just the overview, just to let people know just before we get into it, just because...
Who the hell does know about Area 51?
There might be a lot of people... Well, there was some stuff in here that I did not know. Like, I mean, I knew Area 51. I knew, like, the basics. Like, it's in Nevada, highly guarded, like, you can't go into it, like, all of that stuff. But, so basically, Area 51 is a military base and the site of alleged UFO sightings and alien activity. It is located in Rachel, Nevada. Google Maps pins it at 82 miles away from Vegas. So, just in case anybody's going to Vegas, 82 miles. You can go to Area 51.
See the gate?
Yeah. It was only in 2013 that Area 51 was confirmed, and the extraterrestrial part was never confirmed. So, the fact that they're doing stuff with aliens was never confirmed, but the existence of it being there and operational was confirmed, but it was confirmed to be a flight testing facility.
Yeah, it's apparently where they built and tested the Black Hawk bombers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's not accessible by public. It's under constant 24-hour surveillance. In 1955, the area was a testing site for the Lockheed U-2, which was a high-altitude reconnaissance. I don't even know.
Reconciliation?
No, it's something like that. It's like reconnaissance. I don't know. I can't even, it's in my notes, but that's a hard word. Okay. Right. Aircraft. Basically, really powerful, fast.
Reconnaissance.
Yes. That sounds like, it sounds like a weird...
Did you try to spell it? Or is it, that's how you typed it in there?
I don't know.
Reconnaissance.
It literally looks like a type of cheese, so I don't know.
Hey, you want your reconnaissance cheese sliced in or not? Not too thick, Joey.
Oh my gosh. So basically, Dwight Eisenhower approved all that. It was also codenamed Project Aquatone, and it was used in 1956 in missions. Also, aircraft such as the Oxcart and the F-117 Nighthawk. It was June 25th, 2013, where declassified documents detailed the history of the U-2 and Oxford programs, and that was the first acknowledgement of Area 51. So I thought this was interesting because a lot of veterans that worked at the facility did start speaking about it once that declassified document came out. And one guy, I can't think of his name, but he came out and basically was talking about how basically he was the cleanup person if there was a mishap as far as people seeing something they shouldn't. There was this one incident where he recalled where there's a family and a police officer, and they had a aircraft crashed, and it wasn't alien aircraft. It was one of, well, he just said aircraft, but that's what I'm assuming that it was. And the family took pictures, and then the police officer looked, and basically he had to confiscate the film and tell them, you're not allowed to talk about this, blah, blah, blah. Basically, he never said anything till 2013. And one of the articles was saying, well, the veterans of the facility that worked there never talked about alien stuff. They only talked about, the planes and stuff. Well, maybe that was because it was declassified. The alien stuff wasn't declassified, if there was stuff yet. So maybe they didn't say anything about it because they still can't talk about it because it was never declassified.
Yeah.
Thought. So this is the weird thing. I never knew this. How do you think people get to work at Area 51?
Did you drive there?
No, by plane.
They fly in.
They fly in by what's called Janet, which is a special aircraft carrier that's operated by the United States Air Force as an employee shuttle to transport military and contractor employees to special access facilities. Basically, Janet picks up the employees at their home airports in the morning and returns them by the afternoon. Janet aircrafts are completely white, no details, just a red stripe and a hardly visible tail number on the bottom side. They stay in a separate terminal. It's unmarked, highly secured, and surveyed. Basically, Janet stands for just another non-existent terminal, which I think that was weird. Like, if that doesn't say, like, that's fishy. Joint Air Network for Employee Transportation. I feel like somebody that is looking for that area to sound spooky did the whole just another non-existent terminal. Like, let's throw the public off and call it this. You know? So yeah, so I thought that's kind of like an overview. And yeah, so I thought that was weird that they have to actually fly in. There was one article that actually had like a time, which I don't know how accurate that is, but apparently like it leaves at 3:54 in the morning. And it didn't say what time it gets back, but I thought that was interesting that if it did, it leaves at 3 in the morning.
My suspicion was that they had, obviously, living facilities on Area 51 so people didn't have to leave every day, and you can stay for like a week at a time. And they have like their own food and living quarters and stuff like that.
They get like kind of like a base, like a regular base.
Military base, yeah.
Yeah, because we obviously live in a military town. And that's one thing I wanted to also talk about. So we live in a military town, and they have that. They have where literally on base is like its own separate city. It's got its own beach. It's got its own grocery stores. It's got its own, I mean, there's fast food places on base that aren't in town. Like they have a Raising Cane's on base, but not over here.
Sons of bitches.
Yeah. I want to try their sauce. That dipping sauce. Anyways, so they have that. And so a lot of the people obviously mixed in with general populations are military families. And my sister, when she lived here, she had a friend, and her dad worked very high up, but he worked with weaponry. And he had like engineering degrees and science degrees and stuff like that. And he sometimes would work at home, and nobody was allowed to go in the basement. They couldn't ask him when he leaves on trips where he's going. Like, they didn't even know his, like, job title. So, something to keep in mind is, irregardless, even if it's not alien-related, the military is very hush-hush about that kind of stuff. So, if they are testing stuff, it is going to be to that level of nobody knows anything. Yeah. Some of the conspiracy theories is that, and this is just some that other people have said, kind of conjured up. Obviously there was alien, like that's where we deal with all of our alien stuff, that we have like aliens captured in the base, and we look at their ships, like any kind of UFO crashings go there. They kind of like look at the ships, see what's going on. There's another conspiracy theory that if you believe in the hollow earth conspiracy theory, that there is an entrance into technically the hollow earth there. And that instead of aliens coming from like space, there's a species that lives inside the earth, and that's how you get there. Which I think is interesting because my dad, he is super skeptic on things. I think I've talked about it on here. Like, he's like a skeptical believer. Like, he'll believe in like the most random things. But, like, he truly believes that aliens, or somehow they come here, not from, like, the sky like we assume, like, that's how maybe they go around our planet, but that they actually come from inside the Earth as an advanced civilization inside the Earth. And that's an episode that I think we're going to do in 2023, because at first I was like, no way. There's no way the hollow Earth thing can be a thing. And then I started looking more, and I started going down those rabbit holes, and I was like, whoa. So that was one idea, is that that's the entrance and they're guarding it. There's another really out there conspiracy theory about, you know, whole simulation and the Matrix and all that stuff. And then that there's an entrance to get out of the simulation that way. If you believe in that kind of stuff. You know, everyone's got different things with conspiracy theories. But I thought next I can move into the Abigail Project, because I saw this video and I was like, whoa, this is what made me want to cover Area 51. And the crazy thing about Area 51 is that when you research, like, all of this stuff was surrounding Area 51. Like, you know, the fact that so many people believe that there's stuff going on alien-wise with Area 51, But there's not a lot of encounter stories. Trust me, I searched high and low to find somebody to say, like, hey, we saw this, and hey, we saw that, and there's this, and there's that. I mean, there's people that said, like, there's bizarre feelings, stuff like that, but not anything crazy. But apparently, this was never confirmed. This was just a story that came out, and it's called the Abigail Project. So, kind of like the Montauk Project, you'll see some similarities, and it's around kind of the same time frame. All of this stuff is around the same time frame, like the 50s, and then it kind of jumps to the 80s, and then kind of morphs into what it is now, which is kind of crazy. So one of the first experiments was a project called the Abigail Project. It's pretty slim pickings as far as finding like articles and stuff like that, but there are some, and definitely some people covering them in TikToks. So just in case you want to go and look for yourself. But okay, so this incident that allegedly took place, Fine has similar stuff like the Montauk Project stories. Okay, so the Abigail Project was one of the first experiments that took place at Area 51. Needless to say, the intention regardless at the time was the same. The government wanted to start doing these experiments with the scientists at the facility, and some articles said that they wanted to basically push humans to extreme limits to find out how they could survive in these extreme circumstances, and then other articles stated that they wanted to basically create super soldiers. So similar to the Montauk projects, like how they were pushing, humans to extreme measures to be able to see what a human body could take, what they could do, how they could...
well, it's mostly for psychic abilities and mind control.
Yeah. Yes, but they still kind of had that same idea. You know what I mean? Like, they wanted to create humans as, like, these supers. It's kind of crazy. Like, there's got to be stuff still going on with that.
Of course there is, but they're never going to tell anybody.
Yeah. Okay, so push humans to the limit and see how they could survive, and they also, the super soldier thing. So it was, some articles said that it was after World War II that this really began, and then others said after the Cold War. Irregardless, it was after a war, and they basically didn't want enemies getting ahead of them in terms of trying to make a superhuman or, stuff like that. So, okay, so there was a scientist with the last name of Weston who was with other scientists decided to start these experiments, but realized finding people to agree to doing these kind of experiments would be slim pickings, and that they needed someone that they could trust with confidence. Weston decided to speak up and offer his daughter, basically, to be a guinea pig. He assured her everything would be fine, and even though she didn't truly agree to it, the experiments began. The experiments began to be everything from pushing her to extremities, to injections, to like shock stuff. It slowly morphed into her hair falling out, reports of her skin peeling. Before the experiments, she was beautiful, but by the end she was described as a monster and was unrecognizable. They had her in a cell, and apparently her father was overtaken by so much grief at what he had done, he committed suicide, making the people promise that they would take care of the daughter and would not kill her. Now this is where it differs. One article and video went into an ending where the father committed suicide, and they continued to care for her. They kept her in a cell, and she began to get angrier and angrier. She broke out of the cell, killing 2 soldiers, and basically they euthanized her and put her in a cell. And it's said that to this day, she's still there, and you can hear her screams throughout the building. Another story is kind of similar how everything went, but instead of being euthanized, she escaped and is somewhere in the area of Area 51. And legend has it, you could still hear her screams and grunts around the area.
There's a monster roaming around.
Yeah, like some kind of creature. According to, I don't even know, it didn't even have like an origin story where it started, like if it came from somebody, if it was leaked, if it was... So, but I thought that was interesting. And that was just like one of the legends that was kind of spread. But it, like I said, it sounded so similar to some of the stuff that, granted, it's not mind control and stuff like that, but it was similar to the like experiments that took place with the Montauk Project. What were we doing? Like, if that took place, which, you think, oh, there's no way, like, but
control and power, and control. Both
Yeah.
go hand in hand. For the corrupt and those who are consistently wanting and needing it, they will do anything to hold, control, and power all the time. So, no, it does not seem so far-fetched that the government, our government, would do such things to keep control, to gain power, or to keep control of the power that they have. And other military forces across the world, of course, are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Especially ones that we consider an enemy. And if they're doing it, we have to do it.
Kind of leaves me into the next kind of topic, which is Bob Lazar, because with Area 51, he was basically the guy that kind of sparked everything. Like the one guy, I can't think of his name, the one guy with the Montauk Project where he kind of came out and was talking about all the experiments and stuff like that. I forgot his name. We said it like 20 times in the episode, but I forgot. Preston Nichols is his name.
With Bob Lazar, I watched a documentary that came out by him. That's on Netflix. Funny enough, you can watch. But also watch his interview he did, I think, with Joe Rogan. And he had Jake Bell. I forgot the name of the documentarist who was influenced by the guy who actually did the original interview with Bob Lazar. They actually worked together. He was a reporter. He did an interview with Bob Lazar from firsthand. Did it like Bob Lazar was like, words were strange and he was in shadow. He was basically telling everything that was happening at Site 4. Site 4, if equivalent of distance, is maybe about 10 miles away from actually Area 51 on a different spot. And Area 51 was supposed to be the distraction to what everyone would see because it's a big military base, blah, blah, blah. But Site 4, that's where the real shit was going down. With having an alien craft and having alien technology and metal that they used, of how they space travel. They didn't use propulsion. They didn't use combustion. They didn't use anything that we use to make things go, right? Machines, anything like that. They didn't use mechanical moving parts in order to move things through space. They basically used gravity to move themselves through space.
Dang.
And that, he said, it's like if you put a bowling ball on a bed, right? And you push your fist down on one edge of the bed, the bowling ball is going to roll to that spot. That's how their technology works.
Wow.
It's best that he can understand. And this guy, Bob Lazar, rocket scientist, and all the reality, right? As a kid, as for fun, when in his youth, before he, like in his early teens, or late, like 18, 19, in his early 20s, strapped rockets for fun on a bike, a motorcycle, his car, right? Just to see how fast he can get the thing going. And of course, what he could do sparked interest of other colleges. He went to MIT. He went to, what was that one in Arizona or New Mexico? I can't remember what it was.
It is MIT and Caltech.
There was another one he went to, like some New Mexico one. They actually have a picture of him with the graduating class that they said. And
see, what I found out on the internet is going to blow your mind in a second and this shows you sometimes when you talk about stuff that they don't want out.
The government basically, the college deleted all his stuff and all his forms, said he was never there. He never came here, even though he has a picture of them graduating with the graduating class. There, look, I'm just there. See, right?
Yeah.
And they go, oh, that's like that. It's like they tried to cover up basically that he was ever educated by any college whatsoever.
Yeah, because what I got is that he said he had a master's degree, but other scientists claim that there's no way MIT or Caltech would have gotten him in the university because his high school record was so bad. That's literally what's on the internet.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, when you hear Bob Lazar talk, he doesn't sound like an insane person. He doesn't sound like he's doing this for money or education like that. He wrote a book and that's about it. And he has his own little science shop in his hometown. That's all he does. He's not looking for rich and fame and stuff like that. He just wants to get the story out there. But his whole job at Site 4 was to backwards engineer how the ship worked, right? Figure out how this thing works so we can replicate it for us. So we can learn how to use technology so we can travel through space. That was in the 70s. And now we're in 2022. Who knows if we actually completed it or not? And we have a lot of smarter people now than we did then. Not saying Bob Lazar was an idiot, but access to technology at a younger age, access to teachings, access to all the stuff that we have now versus, say, 20 years ago. So, kids are getting smarter earlier so they can gain more knowledge as they get older, right?
Yeah.
So I was thinking to myself, like, why wouldn't I have it already completed? And now they asked him in a couple of interviews, like, had you ever seen aliens when you were time at Site 4? He goes, no. He says one time he was passing the door, he saw like two scientists like fiddling around with like the seat, and he thought he saw something sitting in it, but he said it could easily be a dummy or something like that. He didn't know if it was an alien or not. But for his knowledge, he didn't see any aliens there. Another interesting fact of what the government's lying is in early interviews, he talked about how he accessed Site 4, like how he got into the building. It was not a key card or anything like that. He slid his hand in this reader that x-rayed his hand, and how you got in was by your bone.
Oh, snap.
That's how they did it. Not fingerprints, not blood, by your bones.
And that was what, in the 70s?
80s or something like that.
Dang, for that.
Right?
Yeah.
And he mentioned this stuff. No more than a year or two later. After that, some stuff about a Russian military base talking about had pictures of people doing that to get in. He said, see? Right there. That's exactly how we did it. And they said that I was lying.
Dang.
Yeah. So how would he know that exists after the shit was released? If he's just some Joe Schmo that's just making up shit. There's a lot of inconsistencies about what the government says and what he actually proved.
Yeah.
So that's why there's like, obviously he's not lying. A lot of shit he's saying can easily be proven what he did.
Yeah. And see, when you look him up online, you look Wikipedia and stuff like that, it's like the complete opposite. And it makes you think like certain people, like were they really just that had like bigger ties with the government, like the Montauk Project and stuff like that, if that was really like not true or if it was just really covered up. Because if they had technology like that in the 80s to scan your bones to allow you into a place, I mean, we don't truly know what is out there.
Well, there's that old saying that whatever technology we have now, the military had 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Which you ask any real military soldier, at least your basic grunts, like, no. A lot of shit we have is older than a lot of technologies out there now.
Yeah.
But this is probably spies, agents, who knows?
I think you
secure
have to be,
buildings, government buildings, stuff like that.
I think you have to be really up there too. Yeah. And then even if you are, no one's going to talk about it because they can kill you and no one will ever know.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying is like it's crazy because there's so much stuff, like so many people talk about Area 51 and the fact that it's like a lot of people true. Like I feel like there's a lot more people that believe that there's something alien related at Area 51 than not. And but that's what kind of makes me, if it is a flight, like they analyze like flight and they create new flight. Oh my gosh. And they create new aircrafts. Of course, that might even be like if there is alien spacecrafts out there, that would be the place because that's where they're specializing in learning about aircrafts. So to me, it's not like a far-fetched idea that if there is aliens, that they would be testing it there. You know what I'm saying?
There's no more ifs.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
We know there's not any more ifs. With all the current footage being shared now of alien spacecrafts and stuff like that in the sky, even the government saying, yeah, there's things in the sky, we don't know what the hell it is.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's no more ifs if there's aliens. We know there is. Who and what and how much the government knows, those are the questions. We know they exist. We just know who they are. If it's actually us, maybe there's aliens. Maybe these are high-tech ships that we get tested and spotted, and the government just says, oh, they're aliens. So the other governments in the world don't go, they got some shit we never seen before. Holy crap. Basically, it's like a cover-up story to something that got leaked, right? Let's make up something else so they don't think it's actually what it is.
Well, that's crazy. I didn't even go, and this might be another episode, who knows. But apparently, and because I started seeing this towards the end of my research, so I didn't get to go because that was a whole nother like 2-3 hours of research that would have taken. Apparently, there's other technical spots that are very, very similar to Area 51. Like, I think there's a spot, I forgot in what location. It's one of those locations that I want to say it's like northwest, definitely in the north. Like, there's maybe Canada, I don't know. There's a lot of, like, it's one of those landscapes where there's, like, a lot of trees. There's a lot of, like, bodies of water, lakes, and stuff like that. And apparently there is, like, you know how in Area 51, there's the tunnels that go underground? Like what you see in Stranger Things, like those things. But apparently there's something that goes underwater. It's like, so, I don't know. It was something crazy like that. And I was like, whoa, what is this? And apparently there's different, they in the articles and stuff, they called it like other Area 51s around the world. And so I would be curious to learn more about that. But it's kind of like, okay, is Area 51 just like where they're doing like secret stuff, or is Area 51 really alien related? That's the question. What do you think?
Well, like I said, we always thought Area 51 is where everything alien was happening until Balthazar said, no, it's Site 4, and then the sites around it. That's where the actual alien shit is happening. Him saying that trying to, they have the metal, the element that they have no name for. They just gave it a name. That's not of Earth. That is apparently what's used to power the ships, right? That's used to make the ships move through space, right? Without using propulsion or anything like that. So they know they have the ships and stuff like that. You never saw alien bodies. But if the ships, there's obviously bodies somewhere. How they dissolved, how they died, where they are, he had no idea. But he knows that the ships exist. So we know for a fact there are alien ships with technology far more advanced than human. And the thing is, one point he made is that who says that they're more advanced than us? Maybe they just learned how to make things move with different materials than us. We learned how to make things move through fire, combustion, steam, mechanical moving parts. That's how we made things move. The wheel, how to make the wheel move without, human pushing it or a horse pulling it. We figured that shit out. Maybe they never had horses. Maybe they never had the wheel. But they figured out a way, using elements, to do that. So let's say they're just as advanced as us, but with different ways of doing it. And we're trying to figure out how to use their stuff in order to do it for us. Who knows? A car could explode from the planet and fly into space and land somewhere, and they're trying to alien species are trying to figure out how it worked, right? Freaking easy to us. But to them, it's like, oh my God, what is this gasoline? This oil, and all these engine moving parts. What is this? They have no idea what they're looking at, right? Yeah. That same concept. I forgot, Neil deGrasse Tyson always said that any alien species has the ability to travel through space and come here light years away is more advanced than us. Because we are so advanced and so intelligent, yet we can't leave the planet. We can't figure it out how to travel through space and stuff like that. And we're some of the most intelligent people on the planet to us. But there's that old saying that he said something. It makes perfect sense. Aliens came to planet Earth, looked at us, said there is no intelligent life here, and moved on. Right? And that humans, us, very egotistical species, can't handle that. No, it can't be that way. We're smart. We're superior. Blah, blah, blah. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously not. If we can't leave the planet and there's alien species coming to us, they are more far advanced than us.
Yeah. Well, I thought the whole interesting, how people freak out about like aliens abducting and then probing us, right? Like and putting chips in us and stuff like that. And I thought in my head, telling me the government's not doing that. If they were to find aliens, you're telling me they're not probing, chipping, and cutting them open and looking what's going on? Like,
well, of course.
So I know a lot of people like, oh my gosh, aliens, the abduction stories and stuff like that. But I feel like we, unfortunately, as bad as it sounds, we as humans would end up doing the same things with the alien and with the extraterrestrials. So it's crazy when you think about it.
No, alien species, I guarantee they see us. Mm-hmm. They've watched us for centuries. See how we evolved and what we have. And we are dangerous. We are dangerous creatures because if they came to the planet, the humans' first instinct is war, attack, fight, right? The fight or flight mode, right? Mm-hmm. It's instilled in humans. Fight this thing or run from it.
Yeah.
Something we don't know. When we are faced with the unknown, those are our two instinctual things to do. That's when people say, well, my fight or flight mode came up. When you don't know what's in front of you or how to react to it. So, they know for a fact that the second they came down to the planet, we would fight. And they can come by peacefully. They can come by, hey guys, we're just here to do this or like that,
I just thought of it like just like an alien, just like, hey.
So I made a fucking joke one time that made me laugh so fucking hard. Where are the most people abducted from?
I don't know where.
Southern states, right? Rural areas, country people, right? So what if that's how they think we sound?
Oh my god.
And they come to Earth like, hey y'all, how y'all doing? We come over here, show you how to use the dang space things, right? Because they think that's how we talk, right?
Yeah,
that would blow everybody's mind. I was like, what the heck? Yeah. Oh, y'all don't sound like this. Well, majority of people, we kidnap for you. No, we would instantly go to war within the first instance. The best. I
think the idea of control, like something comes here and even threatens the idea of something else. If humans feel the control is jeopardized, I feel like they're definitely going to go into that fight mode because...
What's the trope that's always used in alien films? Is always like a military person who sees them as a threat, so he tries to fight them, or there's a religious fanatic that gets threatened, and they're like, no, this ain't of God, just kill it, right? That kind of, they're demons, there's this stupid trope I always see every single time, which is not so far-fetched, because if aliens came and exist in other places, did God die for them? Did Jesus for them too? Did they know the existence of blah blah blah? Religion gets shattered into the atmosphere, and then they question everything. When you read stuff on Dolores Cannon, kind of puts in perspective that if your soul, your essence of what you are, only comes to Earth for the experience, and then can go to other planets and other species, right? That makes sense of how the idea of spirituality is not such a focus on a entity of Earth, but an entity of existence in the universe and all that stuff.
Yeah.
My theories on aliens, and it's funny, after everything we experience, or the supernatural, everything we've done, right? And stuff we learned on the Dolores Cannon, and I'm not saying our psychic abilities have anything to do with aliens, but it puts me in more perspective to learn more about knowing that stuff exists, but also knowing the things we do and what we know exist. So how do they collide, or how do they correlate? They're not so far away from each other.
Yeah.
Right? I believe or theorize the reason why aliens abduct humans, right, is because if you believe the Anunnaki, aliens created humans as a slave race to mine gold, that whole trope story, right? The Anunnaki must be a big-time superior alien race out there that, let's say, is in control, or at least is feared by all the other alien races of the universe. So they come to Earth, all the other alien species, there's a lot, come to Earth to study this human creature that has survived after the Anunnaki left them here to die, right? With barely little supplies, no knowledge, and no futuristic weapons or technology or anything like that they have, left them there to die, basically. And they're still around right now, evolved with their own forms of everything far more advanced than they suspected to be. And Anunnaki are like, oh, I don't give a shit. They kind of just left. So, of course, alien species are coming here going, how did they survive? I want to know. They do experiment. They take us, they run our blood, they probe us, all that stuff, right? How are these humans still existing? How are they so intelligent? How do they keep going on? Right? It's extremely fascinating to them. So, that's why they probably come and do that to us. And I think some aliens come and view us because if you go with Dolores Cannon's idea, right? If we were alien on another planet, and if we were human, and say our soul was human, and you go to another planet, and you're an alien species, if you have any remembrance of your time as a human, wouldn't you want to come back and see the species that you were?
Yeah.
Especially if you had the technology to leave that planet and go.
Dang.
Like a field trip. Hey, let's go see humans. Let's see how they're doing, right? Oh, man, that was nothing like when I was alive in the 50s.
God.
Right?
Yeah.
My experience as a human was a lot easier than this. Jeez. Stuff like that. Just come to observe and then leave. I hope we're not on a TV channel in some alien place, right? Or watching, tune in next week to see what the human race does next, right?
Yeah.
Possible World War III? Tune in next week, stuff like that. That was always a joke that some people say, the aliens are watching us going, geez, World War III's coming. Are you hoping it's going to happen? I don't know.
Jeez.
But no, I have a stronger theory now that aliens are not particularly physical beings that are like us, like humans in this third space dimension. I put more faith in the idea that they're interdimensional from higher dimensions coming down to view us. And it's why they can move through time and space. It's why a lot of things seem trivial to them. It's why they can never get caught. It's why they disappear in the sky in the blink of an eye. Not for the speed they use, right? Because when you see this alien ship fly by, it's like, and they can stop and move in different directions, right? Like they're going through gravity. But they also disappear extremely quickly. Like they're going through dimension, right? And then that like what are alien creatures to us? If aliens are interdimensional, are demons interdimensional beings? that we classify as something spiritual when actually they're alien. Angels, every god has ever been talked about or something like that. It could be an alien species from other dimensions that was spotted or told about from a story from early human races, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those concepts I think about.
Yeah.
When it comes to alien species and stuff like that. Like, that aliens, like I said, are not so much as from other planets, just from other dimension.
Yeah.
And learning consistently more about them. And then we got the whole talked about different alien species when it comes to reptilians and then the Lyrans. What's that human alien, angelic looking aliens? I forgot they're called.
Octarian?
I don't remember. Some sort of like Acarians or Carians.
I think it's Octarian.
Yeah. They look like
Greys.
us, but they got the Greys and stuff like that. Which I think the Greys are kind of like the hillbillies of this universe.
Gosh.
But like the white collar, the blue collar workers, right?
Yeah.
They seem more grunt like, right? They seem like I'm not saying they're unintelligent. I'm just saying that they seem like they're just there to. I guess we got to pick this guy up and okay, run the experiments. All right, send him back. All right. Yeah. It does seem like they're real giving it shits about what happens to a human when they take them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. What's your concept idea of them?
Well, I don't know because I feel like
You got no answer?
No, it's because my brain is literally running because, like I said, I knew I think aliens exist and all that stuff and the whole starseed thing. Like I am more on a believable note with that, obviously, but I've been kind of thrown a loop because I didn't really believe in the hollow earth. That concept? No, I'm saving it for the episode. Wait till you hear my theories on that.
Well, here's a thought to put in your head that might not debunk it, but explain it. Now, we talked about hollow earth before. Not entirely, but we talked about it a little bit. And my perspective was that there are cavernous areas of Earth a city could fit in, but the planet hollow itself, no. What I think is happening, there's cavernous spots in the Earth that have access to other dimensions. So instead of having a whole city or a whole entire another planet within our Earth, just go to another dimension that has a whole other Earth.
I don't know about this. I have to go more into it, but I got this random thing. I was thinking about that in the shower, and I got this random thought in my head about how evolution and stuff like that. And you know how they said the whole Big Bang theory and all that stuff, right? I had this random thought that the civilization knew something was going to happen, right? Knew something bad was going to happen. So they started going inward in the caverns and stuff like that. Whoever survived and dealt with the blast and whatever essentially are the first. It almost dumbed, it was an offset. It dumbed down the civilization that was there before. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you get kind of cavemen where they're beating on rocks. It's almost it erased. Kind of when you have radiation poisoning or whatever and it kind of just makes your brain go to mush a little bit. Get what I'm saying?
Saying whatever the Big Bang Blast was, right, de-evolved up.
Yes.
And we had to start over again.
But there is some part of the civilization, because Earth itself didn't go kaboom, right?
Yeah.
It was just what was on the outside. Well, what if some of them went on the inside?
I still go with a dimensional thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I just got that random thing. I feel like there's, I don't know. Like I said, I normally, my theories and stuff on aliens and the interdimensional, I used, if you go back and listen to earlier episodes, I'm I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know any of this. I don't know. But now I'm starting to kind of get my own theories about it and kind of get more, not open to it, but understanding of it, I guess.
Ongoing journey for us to figure this stuff out. But I feel like the more we learn with the paranormal, the more we dip into that, we start bridging out into the ideas of alien species and the whole not alien culture, but the whole knowledge of alien species and how the whole planetary stuff and outer space and stuff that coexist or co-enlight. When people consistently put aliens and ghosts in two different categories altogether, right? Whole spiritual realm and idea of aliens. I feel like you're dividing something that could easily coexist and most likely does coexist with each other. Like I said, If we look at aliens as interdimensional beings, higher level dimensional beings than us, and our third dimensional space and everything like that, the idea of spiritual things can coexist. The idea of aliens being those things at the same time, and vice versa, right? Because people say they've seen angels and they look like giant wheel things with thousands of eyes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's an alien creature if you saw it today, right?
Yeah.
We wouldn't think angel or anything like that. We'd think, it's a fucking alien creature, but it just came from another dimension. That's why I kind of lean to that camp a little bit more. Feel like we've exhausted our knowledge.
And I think, like I said, I don't know with how crazy Area 51 is with like the alien culture, the alien. And 2, we didn't even really touch about it, but like the whole storming of Area 51. Which technically started from that Bob Lazar and Joe Rogan episode. They just thought it would be, this one college student thought it would be like funny.
No,
and
it was a Facebook post that became an invite. It became a party that became YouTubers of, what year was it? 2018, 17?
No, it was later, I thought.
It wasn't 2020. It was before. It was before the pandemic. I remember that.
Oh, I don't know.
So like 2018, 2019?
Yeah. But
like a bunch of YouTubers, a bunch of like, well, TikTok wasn't around at the time, but like Vine people, if you remember that, but went there, right, up playing it. I mean, I think even some celebrities are there too. I don't know, A-listers or anything, but there was like a lot of people there just to storm Area 51, right? Oh, they can't stop all of us, right? That was a whole motto and quote.
But the thing is, too, there wasn't even crazy encounter stories.
No, because they didn't get past the gate.
People. But that's what I'm saying.
It's like a party in the desert.
You know, that freaks me out. There's a music festival where it's like completely in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the desert. You have to have like a special invitation.
You know what, Coachella?
No.
Oh.
It's similar, but it's not.
Or Burning Man?
Burning Man. That freaks me out.
It's not, anybody can go. We just got to pay to get in there.
Well, somewhere I read you have to have an invitation, but that freaks me out. Like just in the middle of nowhere, just there. I don't know why that freaks me out, but they showed pictures and it just, I don't like desert though. That freaks me out. I'd rather you stick me in a friggin' wooded area, I'm fine. But you put me in the desert and I don't like it. So I don't know if it's a past life thing. Maybe met my doom in the desert. I don't know. Like I wouldn't even want to go to like Nevada or someplace like that because of the desert.
We're going to be going to the desert.
Yeah.
We're going.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of haunted places that we need to go to.
Yeah. I don't know. The desert and like that kind of like the out west areas freak me out, and I don't know why.
Wraps up today's episode?
Yes.
Next week.
Because I actually will switcheroo the episodes because Isaac apparently acquired some stories from his dad about this. And I can't wait because he has not told me these stories, and apparently they're really... To give Isaac the chills and like freak out about it and say like, okay, these stories are intense.
I know we've talked about different stories from our experience. And I've always said, me and you might fill up a couple novels worth of experiences just between us two. I didn't take into the fact that my my thirst for it, but my ability, or at least my luck, for running into the paranormal is inherited. Because my father apparently experienced a lot of crazy shit when he was young.
Yeah.
Stuff he experienced in Mexico, and even here when he lived in Texas, and in when he was a kid and stuff like that. And then he told me stories about what my grandfather went through too when he lived in Mexico and stuff like that. So I'm like, so the weird thing is apparently coming from my bloodline. Weird shit seems to follow the Sanchez family around, apparently. Or at least from father to son to grandson.
It's kind of ironic too. Your ranch has so much stuff too.
Oh, my dad's barely experienced stuff at their ranch. More of the time in Mexico more than anywhere.
Isaac was coming home and he was talking to his dad, and he came out and his face, like,
because he's never told me this stuff before.
And he was like, "Oh my gosh, you're gonna wait till you hear this."
Yeah.
And so I've never heard it, so you're gonna hear my reaction for the first time, and I literally am so intrigued by it because obviously I know Isaac's dad, and he is very kind of quiet about the paranormal. He's not someone who doesn't.
To quote my dad, "Híjole, man, that stuff scares the shit out of me." So he never talks about it.
That was dead on too. That's funny.
I don't like to talk about it, mijo. That scares me.
That is so spot on. I can't even. But yeah, so and one of the requests was to go back and talk about Mexico, because it was one of our listeners' favorite episodes, and we'll shout her out next episode when we do it.
Yes. And also, we're also talking about ancient Aztec and Mayan gods that surrounded death, around supernaturalists, right?
Yeah.
Legends around that the Mayans and Aztecs had.
Yeah.
When it comes to supernatural and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Their superstitions, their legend, their lores from Mexico as well. Because mostly we talked about like
the typical
current day stuff.
Yeah.
But now I want to dive a little bit farther back, like the age of the Mayans and the Aztecs and the surrounding tribes and some of the stories they told and things to avoid in the jungles and stuff.
Well, I feel like with that too, it's not talked about a lot of just how like spiritual and how powerful that area was in terms of like paranormal stuff and just intense stuff. Like they knew stuff.
Look forward to those things with Haunted Mexico next week. No haunted update, nothing like that.
We didn't really have. We're kind of just chilling out. I think we're supposed to start investigating again soon, but we're just kind of just chilling.
But as always, guys, you can get to our social media at Hidden the Shadows podcast on Instagram, Hidden the Shaw 6 on Twitter, Hidden the Podcast 2 on TikTok, or links to all of social media and all ways you can listen to us at hiddentheshadowspodcast.com. But as always, we'll catch your weirdos in the next one.
Yep.